Well, good evening and welcome to Plummer Place.
Here we
That's the
are.
home of the senior center.
Yes.
Hopefully, there'll
Maybe
be
a new home someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking to build a new senior
Oh,
center.
fantastic.
We're in the middle of a feasibility study.
Oh, fingers crossed. You guys
Thank
get a new
you.
building.
And,
We hope.
Our guest this week is Leanne Hooley,
Hi.
who
Nice to see you
runs
both.
the Worcester Talking Book section of the Worcester Public Library.
That is correct.
Cool.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for being here.
We just had we did an interview for the radio a while ago, and it's amazing how much you do there. I mean, you haven't got just talking books, you have talking video.
We
as
do.
well.
We have audio described movies. We have talking books. We have large print, braille. We have children's books. We have wonder books. So which are remember the read to me books when we were younger
Yes.
that would you turn the page. It's like this but immersive. There's music. There's different voices. I think Meryl Streep has
wow.
narrated one. So they're really cool. We like those
These
a
are
lot.
for children that are blind.
These are for children and young adults, and I believe they're starting to make adult books. I need to look into that because I
Okay.
think that's kind of a fun way to keep people engaged as well. So,
True.
Yeah.
And you do some work with senior centers, don't you?
We do, yeah. We visit a lot of the senior centers. We love you guys. We love working with seniors, and a lot of the council on aging and the senior centers are the places to go where you can kind of meet folks that might be interested in our services or might have family or friends that we can help. So
Oh. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that service is available.
there are lots of services. Senior centers are great. Lots of programming. You guys do lunches. Just the social element is so important.
It's a lot under one roof.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
chair yoga. You get people working out. I mean, there's a lot of Medicare things. Senior centers are great places to go, and there's so many resources available.
Right, I mean, your service is for the blind. A lot of people don't realize that that's available.
Right. We're working on getting the word out. A lot of folks don't think about us until they need us, and we want to make sure folks know about us prior to that. We don't want folks to lose their vision, but we want folks to know that we're here in case they need it or their friend needs it or a family member needs it. And we work with folks of all ages
Right.
as well. So
Okay.
I think our youngest is maybe like 10 months, 9 months old now,
Oh, wow.
and I have an 105-year-old woman who
Wow.
Oh, that's
reads
great.
as like a super reader. So
Right.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because, when you age, you can have things like cataracts,
Mm-hmm.
and if they can't operate on them, they can't remove them.
Right.
You're not totally blind, but you're blind enough that you need assistance with
Right.
certain things.
Yeah, macular degeneration. We work
Yeah.
with folks that have had strokes that maybe can't hold a book anymore, or folks that have Parkinson's. And, I was saying that I was talking to a colleague of mine at a conference, and he serves a lot of folks that have paper allergies.
I
Oh,
know.
interesting.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I said. I was like, I didn't
Yes,
know that was a thing.
Never
Right,
heard
so it's
of
not
Yeah.
exclusive to people that are blind.
Correct,
It is
yeah.
any kind of
If-
challenge or barrier that someone cannot pick up a book and read.
Right.
Yeah, if you
Or
lost the
learning
use of your
disabilities.
hands, your arms, and you can't hold the book.
Mhm.
Right. Physically, or like you said, with disabilities
Yep. Yeah.
of like dyslexia.
Yeah,
or
we have a lot of folks
yeah.
with dyslexia, and a lot of adults are getting diagnosed later in life. So you're
Interesting.
seeing people that are like, oh, I never liked reading, but I've always wanted to read, and now it makes sense. And you introduce them to audiobooks, and they're like, oh, I can be part of this. I can attend this book club. I can
Right.
talk about this thing with my friends. I can relax with a book, but I don't have to read it. So, and I don't have to be
Right.
frustrated if it's hard for me to do that, and I can still enjoy it. So.
Right.
They can discover how great reading is.
Right, exactly. And I it's a nice leisurely activity, and audiobooks are great. You can go for a walk, you can cook your dinner, you
Yeah.
can knit a scarf, you can do all sorts of things, and you still have that book too.
Right. I think I did hear you talk about when you're driving. I think I came in on the tail end of your
Yep.
the radio interview. And driving, I would say, maybe if you're on a long trip, but I wouldn't say for your like daily commute
Yeah.
because you need to really pay
You need
attention
right, and if you're only
Yeah.
if you only
There are
got
a lot
like
of crazy drivers
to the
out
driving, not to the
I don't
what
want
you're
people on
listening
their
to.
phones. I definitely don't want people like getting to the end of a chapter
Yeah.
and panicking when there's a big reveal and
Right.
like driving off the road. So
there. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You get to work and you don't go in because you want to finish it.
You're gonna finish the book.
sorry, I'm late. I'm almost
Yeah,
done.
I'm
Yep.
almost to the
I'm almost
end.
done.
Yes, but I know people do listen to audiobooks when they drive.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, I think it's mostly for like longer trips.
Right.
You know, if you're driving from here to Florida.
Yeah,
Or,
I mean, if you're just going to
Yeah.
the grocery store, like 5 minutes isn't enough time to
No.
really get into the book either. So it's just going to be
Right.
like these little spurts. You can't really enjoy it. So yeah, listen to
Yeah.
a book or read a book when you have the time.
Right.
I like listening to the old radio shows, but that's acting.
Yeah.
It's not someone reading to you, it's actually they're acting, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's different. Yeah.
And those are fun. What is it? The Internet Archive? There's a lot there. Like
Yes.
a lot.
Well, I have Sirius Radio.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a program on there that does all the old radio shows.
Oh,
I have
fun.
I have a collection of them myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Like
got,
on record or?
on record and cassette.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen them on DVD,
Not yet. Maybe someday.
Right. Exactly.
But
but I got them on LP and I got them on on cassette. In
Right.
fact,
Mm.
I used to go out to the Boy Scout camp when my son was a lot younger,
Yep.
my older one, and we'd go out there for 2 weeks, Treasure Valley, and I brought them out there and tried to get the kids to listen to it. They didn't like it
really?
because they had no picture.
Oh.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I said, you
exactly.
kids don't realize how, before television, that's what we
That's
had.
how
Right.
that was the entertainment, was
Mhm.
listening
Yeah.
to radio.
You're sitting around
Right.
with your family on a Saturday night and just sitting by the radio.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And when I was in the military, we didn't have TV. I was overseas. We had AFN, but they played all those old shows on AFN,
Mm-hmm.
the Armed Forces Network.
Yeah.
So I got into it big time.
Right.
And it forces you to like really think about what's being said and kind of visualizing it in your mind and
Use your
so,
imagination.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is good.
It's like reading a good book. You're visualizing it as
Right.
you're reading it.
Exactly.
And I love the sound effects in old time radio too. Like if somebody's opening a door, you hear a door opening,
Right.
or if you
Yeah.
hear like car driving or like wheels screeching. It's like, how do they do that? But it's neat.
Exactly.
Again, the immersive storytelling.
Oh yeah,
is-
the
it's really
sound men were big. They were big, very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
You had the horse
Yep.
clicking his.
Right.
The coconut shells.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's true. Yeah.
That's
So
it.
your home base, I guess, so to speak, is out of the Worcester Public Library.
Yep, we're right in the downtown branch.
Okay.
So if you walk in through the library lane entrance and walk a little bit, we are on your right. So we have a space, we have a little meeting room that can accommodate about 4 people. And we have a table called a hearing loop table, which if you have a hearing aid with a T-coil, there's a switch on it you can hit, I guess, and it
Okay.
mics into the table.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's really great if you're with folks that are hard of hearing and have the equipment to mic into the table because they can be part of the conversation easier.
Oh, I didn't know that existed even.
I don't even know if they make them anymore. We saw one at a conference a few years ago and we're like, that's a great idea.
Right.
So hopefully it comes back because I don't want it to ever break and to not have it because it's a
Right.
cool tool.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we have the study room and we have public computers with special keyboards that folks can use. We have accessibility software that folks can use. We have a Braille embosser, so if anyone needs anything brailled, we can do that for them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so if you ever need any Braille, call me. So I will be happy to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, which would hand you somebody have around the house.
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
we do a lot of like restaurant menus. I work with the WRTA to get a lot of their information done. I'm working with an art group at the Worcester Art Museum to help them get some Braille documentation for an exhibit coming up. So, yeah, we do all sorts of, a lot of like community members. So, but if you folks, if you ever need Braille for your organizations, let me know. I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
So,
Good to know.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
resource. We do have a young woman that comes to our center. She is, I want to say she's 42 at this point. And she's been blind since birth. And it's incredible to all of us
Yep.
of how extremely well she does. right down to voice recognition.
Yep.
It's just, I can just say hello from across the room.
Yep.
She knows
She
it's
knows
me.
it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, which is born blind.
yep,
It's amazing how well they do, because that's the only life they know.
yep.
Right,
If you go blind, it's a lot different.
right, much different,
Yep.
I think,
I
yes.
have a gentleman who's in the library today who's been blind since birth,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw him, I was excited because I like him, and I was like, hey, and he didn't recognize my voice for a
Okay.
minute because we hadn't seen each other in a few months, just
Right.
because our paths hadn't crossed, and he was like, is that Leanne? And I was like, yes. I was almost, I don't want to say I was insulted, but I was like, how do you not know? And he's like, but he was also looking for another coworker of mine.
Maybe a little distracted.
Yeah, he was looking, one of the women at work with periodically gives him a candy bar, so I
Oh,
think he was
okay.
looking for her because he was hungry, so.
Yeah, right.
Tomorrow maybe, we'll see, so, but.
Yeah, give him a pass, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I mean, it's like, she's not here today, so no candy bars for any of us,
Right.
but.
Well, you know, even if you're sighted, if you didn't see someone for a long time, you may not recognize them.
Right, or
Right,
their
that's
voice.
true.
It happens both
Yeah.
ways.
Or
Yeah,
people
it
out of
does.
context, like if,
Right.
we have security guards in our library, and when
Mm-hmm.
we have events off-site or we're closed and we have a learning event, and they come in their like normal people clothing, or they're not uniform,
Right.
I'm always like, who is that? So
Right.
it takes a second.
Out of context, yeah. So,
Now, you have a recording studio as well, right?
We do. We are
Mm.
recording our own audiobooks for the blind.
Oh.
We've just started that about a year ago. It's been a big process. None of us are audio engineers, so we've kind of had to figure it out on our own. And I have a coworker who just took to it and figured it out and is still figuring out, because it's just such a learning process. But he's got it up and running, thankfully, and he's figured out how to edit it, and he's figured out, what plugins we need and the software component. We were in a meeting with somebody and he started asking questions about how to get something to work. I was like, I don't even know what this guy is saying right now. And we were on a Zoom call, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my face and I look alarmed in this. I'm like, sorry. But yeah, so we are recording local books based on like Massachusetts interests, a lot of history books we were talking about.
fun.
Yes.
I'm working on a book right now on the history of Boston's Franklin Park.
Oh, okay.
So that's been fun.
Yeah.
We have a book on a woman who was either swimming or kayaking in the ocean and met a whale, and like kind of a story. But it's a true story. I haven't listened to the book yet. We had a book on the history of the combat zone that we put in there, so kind of like a good Massachusetts history. Some fiction books as well, but mainly it seems like most of the local interest books that we're finding that kind of qualify for recording are all like historical nonfiction, but they're interesting. So
Yes.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. That's neat.
and especially like a lot of local towns have books, like published books, and I really want to get some of those out because I feel like Central Mass, maybe it's not as exciting as Salem or Boston,
Right.
but there's a lot of history here. So
Well, there's a lot
Definitely.
of history in Central
yeah,
Mass.
we've got a lot of good things here. So
Right. Yeah. And you must collaborate with local libraries?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
We have a lot of like librarian pals kind of thing.
Okay.
We work closely. We will do programming. We send them applications. They send us patrons. We have a few deposit collections. So every once in a while during the holidays, the mail gets a little slow. So we will be like, why don't we just send you like 30 books and you can check them out if people come in, things like that.
Okay.
We assist with book clubs. So yeah, we have a lot of friends in the libraries that we're very lucky to know. And yeah, we like that.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're up to date with the new fiber world,
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yes.
and you can get your
Great.
books now right online.
You can. Yeah, we have an app now. So it's
Wonderful.
yeah, it's great because it's really nice not to have to wait for something. And I feel like with the the advent of streaming and like TV and radio, we can all kind of get these things that we want instantly, and people aren't as good as
Yes.
waiting. And I'm one of those people that's not as good as waiting. But with the BARD app, as long as you have like a smartphone or a tablet and the internet, you can be anywhere in the world and download a book. So you don't have to
Fantastic.
wait for the mail to
Wow.
come. You don't have to, be upset if it's a holiday and you
Right.
can't get a book, or
Yeah.
you're up late because you read a thriller and it's 2 a.m. and the next one in the series, you don't have to wait a few days to get that. You can just download it and start it. So it's
Fantastic.
great,
You
yeah.
can do that 24 hours a day.
You can do it 24 hours a day, and I
Yeah.
believe we have patrons that do. So we have
Right.
a lot
No
of
time
enthusiasm.
limit.
Yeah, no time limit, and we don't like if you use like Libby or Hoopla at your library. A lot of times, if the book is on hold, you can't get it. In Bard, there are no holds. The book is always available to you.
interesting.
Yeah, it's great. It's very. You don't have to wait for the book that everybody wants.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because you're getting an audio.
yes, exactly, and it's just the way it works. I think the limitations are not there like you get in the ebook world. There are a lot more limitations. I think when you buy a book, a lot of libraries you can only have like 30 checkouts before you have to rebuy it, kind of thing.
Okay.
Whereas this is all run kind of by the National Library Service for the Blind, which is part of the Library of Congress, and we have arrangements because we're serving blind folks, so
Right.
they're and folks that can't maybe read traditionally, so they're very kind to us in allowing us to kind of make sure we have access to these books pretty much unlimitedly.
So this is basically on your phone right now.
Yes, it is on my phone.
But eventually it'll be on the PCs.
It will. We're working on. I think there's a program. It's called Bard Express, and up until very recently, you couldn't listen to the audiobooks on your computer. And I think there was like some sort of like legal like copyright issue with that.
Oh.
And I think that they've negotiated the terms, and now we can. So I started playing around with it a little bit today. I didn't get too far. I had a meeting. But I'm hoping that that's another option maybe for folks that have a computer, have a laptop, have a desktop, have the internet, but maybe don't have a smartphone or
Right.
or want a bigger screen or want a keyboard because it's easier for them to use.
Right.
So.
Right, if you're blind, a keyboard might be the way to go.
Yeah. And I feel like it's probably easier to feel buttons on a keyboard than it is your phone, although a
Right.
lot of the blind folks that I work with have it set in accessibility mode. They're like, all you have to do is double tap and talk into it, and I can't figure it out.
Okay.
But it's
They're good at it.
They are very good at
Again,
it.
They telephone
yeah,
what you
just-
want to do, and it does.
Right.
It's
Yep.
just the technology today is unbelievable.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
amazing, and the folks that have managed to make it work for them are incredible. I
Yes.
think I was trying to look something up one day, and one of my blind patrons just pulled out his phone, hit a button, was like, "I got this," and pulled it up before I could even type it in. And I was like, "All right, great, thanks,
That's
we figured it
great.
out."
I
It's
think
like
they
I'm a
have-
librarian, and you're answering the
Right.
questions.
I think
so.
they have a Braille keyboard.
I think they do. I
Yeah.
have.
I'm
These-
pretty sure I've seen one.
Yeah, we don't have Braille keyboards. Maybe we should pick one up, but we have these big yellow, big buttoned, low vision keyboards.
Okay.
And
Oh, okay.
we have put little markers on them called bump dots. So if you're using an accessible software and you need a hotkey, we've marked where the hotkeys are.
Okay.
So
Oh. I could use one of them myself
yeah,
sometime.
come
Right.
try it out. It's really nice. It
Yeah.
feels good too on the hand. So
Right.
yeah.
Yes, it's amazing though, what's available today. I mean, and it makes it, if you're blind, it makes it easier for you just to live a normal life.
It does.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about how you got Braille on, if you go into a building, there's Braille on the signs.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find your way
Yep.
around.
And they do, I was explaining, they put it all at a certain height. There's like a certain height that all the signs are. So
Oh,
if you're
okay.
blind, like, here's the wall I need to touch, and here's where the Braille would be. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really just a whole other culture and a whole other world that
Exactly.
we don't know as much about, but it
No.
exists.
And even like I
Okay.
said earlier, the ATM
Mhm.
has Braille, and then you get the
That's true.
plug in.
Yep, there's a headphone jack. That way you can, and the buttons have Braille, but that way it's talking to you, and nobody hears your PIN or your bank statement, and it's just in your ears, and nobody walking by can like write down your information.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah,
Smart.
Yeah, so I mean, like I say, if you're blind, still, you don't need to have help 24/7.
Right.
You can
Exactly.
pretty much live a life on your own.
exactly.
Independent
Mhm.
and enjoying normal activities.
Exactly.
And,
Just
yes.
have a good quality of life.
That's right.
And even today now, you can drive a car,
You can.
even if you're
The
blind.
self-driving
The
car.
self-driving,
Yeah,
yeah.
those kind of
Just
make
gotta
me
get in,
nervous.
program the
Yeah.
car,
Right.
program the computer in the car.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
somebody sees you go, I know that guy is blind.
like a Mel Brooks movie. It's
Yeah,
like, wait a
right,
minute.
exactly. I don't know if we're ready for that yet, but
I'm not ready for
no,
that.
I
I'm
know
not ready
it's
for
coming.
self-driving
Yeah,
cars, but
it is definitely probably
Right.
going to happen, but
Yep.
we'll see, or it is happening.
I heard of a guy who drove home from the bar like that.
Oh
and
boy.
yeah.
He says, yeah, I don't remember going home, but I got there.
Oh
Yeah.
I
boy.
said, oh my God,
Yeah,
that's horrible.
right.
Ugh. I don't even like using cruise control because I like to be in control, of my
control,
vehicle.
Yeah, I know, I'm
but-
with you. I
Yeah.
don't like the cruise control myself.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially, when you put it on cruise control, you end up with a guy going too slow in front of you and you gotta slow down anyway.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
But,
Yeah.
yeah, the world for the blind is getting so much better.
It is. It
Mhm.
is. And it's.
And we're talking about the seeing eye dogs,
Mhm.
and they're trained right here in Central Mass.
No, there are service dogs trained. Most
Oh,
seeing eye
service.
dogs, I think, come out of either Staten Island or New Jersey. There's a couple
Oh,
of different
okay.
agencies in the East Coast.
New
Those are the ones I know.
Jersey,
There's
yeah.
probably
Yeah.
more.
I saw a
Right.
documentary on
Yep.
that, how that's where the idea came out of
Yeah.
a place in New Jersey.
There's probably more in other parts of the country as well. I'm not sure where just because I feel like all of the folks I know with seeing eye dogs get them in one of two places, probably because of location.
They're
So,
amazing
yeah.
dogs.
They are.
I mean, they stop exactly when they know you have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go when you're ready to go. They watch the traffic.
Yep.
I
They
mean,
give people a
it's-
lot of independence.
Yeah. And they give you a good companion.
They do,
oh,
yeah. They're-
definitely.
I mean,
The
dogs are
comfort
great,
and-
yeah.
Yeah,
And even when they're at work, they're good dogs. So
absolutely.
I heard a story actually when I was at a conference about a former librarian who was blind and had a seeing eye dog. And everybody said when they go through the buffet line, the dog was working and the dog would just sneak things off of the buffet
Oh, right.
line. And they're like, do we say anything? I mean, it's a really good dog. He's a good
Right.
dog. Let's just, but everybody would just be too busy laughing. And, the dog was so sneaky at it so he wouldn't get caught.
Right.
So I thought that was a
Oh,
very
that's
cute
great.
story.
Pretty smart.
Yeah, so he's working, but he's still getting that piece of cheese, I
That's
guess.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
Still a dog.
Yep, still a dog.
Oh,
I know the station manager we have, WCRN,
Mhm.
he had a Chihuahua,
Yep.
but he was diabetic.
Hmm.
And the Chihuahua could sense if his sugar was too low
Really?
and would alert him.
Oh, wow.
So he said that dog ate at 5-star restaurants.
Yep.
Because he could take him in.
Yeah.
right, yeah,
That's amazing.
it is,
It really is. And they say dogs are our best friends, and it's like they're looking out
Yeah.
for us. It's
right,
great.
and it's so true, yeah.
But I mean, seeing eye dogs just amazed the hell
Mhm.
out of me.
Yeah.
Mm.
They know exactly where to take people,
Right.
and we have a lot of folks that come in with their dogs, and they're well behaved. They just
Right,
lay
Yeah.
down. We have one. I was talking about Dave. One of my dog friends, Dave, is a Labrador, and Dave he's a great seeing eye dog, but he really wants you to pet him. But you can't pet him because he's working.
He's working,
He's
Yeah.
working, and he
exactly.
just sits there and he's looking at you and he's wagging his tail.
Oh.
And finally, usually his person will be like, "All right, Dave, just say hi real quick, okay?" So it's funny because even the guy that loves his dog, but doesn't want his dog to not be doing his job, but
Right.
So he has to be alert to
Yep.
his
Yeah.
Yeah.
his master.
Exactly.
And they're both very attuned to each other, and he knows when his dog wants to be pet in the head by somebody, so he's just like, "Fine, Dave, go say hi." So
You can take a break.
you can take a break, Dave. Yep.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
you can only imagine what it must be like, and I have to think of Helen Keller,
Mm-hmm.
who was not only blind but deaf,
Mm-hmm.
and managed to do what she did.
Right.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
It's amazing, and
Yeah.
the Perkins School and for the blind has a fantastic deaf-blind program, and
Yeah.
teaches folks in that situation how they can thrive, and
Right.
it's great that
Yeah.
people that maybe a few hundred years ago did not have opportunities and did not have the ability to speak for themselves
No.
now have that.
Right.
Right,
I mean, we learn to talk because we can hear,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have that ability. God, then you lose your means of communication.
Right,
Right.
exactly. You can't even tell somebody when you're hungry or tired, and those are like
Right.
basic needs. And
Right.
We take our senses, all these senses we
Mhm.
have for granted.
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
But it's great the service you're giving out. I tell you, my mother she used to get the cassettes.
Yeah.
She had a cassette player. We had to return it all when she passed
Yeah.
away, but it was great. She still loved it. She'd sit there for hours and
Mhm.
listen to her books.
Yeah.
which is wonderful.
We have a lot of folks that read a book a day.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I was saying earlier, those are the folks that I go to for book recommendations.
Yes.
Because they've read it, and if they haven't read it, they're gonna read it. So,
Right.
and it's neat that, you can have that relationship with somebody, and sometimes they get really excited about the books that they've read and they call you. We get notes a lot. I think one of my favorite notes, somebody tucked into a book, it just said worst book ever written. I didn't read the book because I was like, well, I'm going to believe them. Because,
right. Take it at face value.
we had a gentleman, a patron of ours, who has since moved to Nashville and is doing great down there. Every time he read a book, he would write me a review. And he pretty much hated almost every book he rated.
Wow.
But he was reading old classic books, and he was
Okay.
like, these are terrible. And he was forcing himself to read those. But then periodically he'd get something he really wanted to read, like a fun book. And he'd be like, this is a good book. And I'm like, then why are you reading The Odyssey
Right.
again? You hated it the first, but,
Yeah.
it's nice. I mean, just people being able to read things that even they don't want to read, and having that ability to do so with an
Exactly.
audiobook. So.
Maybe just to self-educate a little
Exactly.
bit, and Wow.
I know where you're coming from. These old classic books are written in old classic language,
Yes.
so it's hard to read. I know I read them, and I like reading them.
Right.
But it's hard to understand what they're doing, because
to
you're not,
process
it's
a
not
little
your
bit different.
conversation.
Right, yeah.
Whereas today you read a book, it's in today's conversation style.
Mhm. And even the historical content, a lot is lost. Like, I'm reading
Yes.
War and Peace, and a lot of the references, I feel like I have to stop and like look it up, or be like,
Right.
what was this going on at this time period? And it's just because things kind of get lost to history, or we don't learn about them, so we have to find a way to educate ourselves.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So,
I love reading history books, especially books that tell you the real history,
True.
not the sugar-coated stuff.
Right.
Yes.
yeah, because
Used to get in school.
a lot of it is very like, right, well, they don't want to scare kids, so they leave out a lot of
The
the
surface stuff
the bad,
and-
the really like horrific stuff, and then you read about it, and you're like, why didn't anyone tell me this? And,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you get that even with the audiobooks, because they're reading the book verbatim, right?
It is all verbatim. So, and a lot of times you'll have somebody who's a really good narrator, and they kind of add that dramatic touch to it. So even they're not acting; they're just telling you the book, but they're doing it in a way that really sucks you
Yes.
in. So
They read it dramatically.
right.
Yeah, that makes the book much more interesting.
It does. Yeah, it kind of
Right.
pulls you in more. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. You have to have a really good voice, I guess.
Yes.
For, like a radio voice.
Like radio voice,
Oh,
exactly.
I
Yeah,
have terrible radio
Oh well,
voice.
if you want to do audiobooks, let me know. We'd love to have you.
I have to put on my radio voice.
Oh, right.
My
Yeah.
normal voice is not good.
Oh, I like your normal
Oh.
voice though.
I hate it.
Oh,
Well, it's worked for you for many years.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I've been
So-
doing TV for a long time, but
Yeah.
that's because I don't have to worry about ratings.
Yeah. That's true. Well, yeah, that's true.
I do with the radio,
Yes. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
but that's besides the point. But anyway, yeah, I thought about doing it one time, but I don't know if I could do it, because I start to stumble sometimes. And probably I have to do it over again.
You.
I would be editing constantly.
We do most of the editing for our volunteers. We have one we've taught to edit. We have a few others that are really good, but they just want to read right now. They're really
Do you
smart
edit
though.
it as they're doing it, or do you edit it after?
When they finish, usually.
Okay.
We have one guy that we taught to edit, so he'll edit in place a little bit. So his work is really clean, so it's nice when I go in a second. Editing a book takes a long
Oh, I
time.
bet
Yeah,
it
oh
does.
yeah.
Did not expect that.
Wow.
A long time.
Yeah.
I feel like there's books I spent months editing.
Wow.
And they're still not done. And like I said, our kind of de facto studio guy is a really good editor, and he can pick out any sound and just make it. I don't know how he does it.
Wow.
Unfortunately, our studio is next to a door that slams a lot,
Oh,
and he
no.
put a lot of time into trying to. He was like WD-40ing the door and like putting signs up and like begging people not to shut it. But you know, a
Right.
lot of times people are just running in and out and they're not
Without even
thinking.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and he's really trying to still edit those door slams out, and I feel like it's kind of consuming him. He actually one night sent me a clip where he was reading a book and it had just gotten to a really important part and the chapter ended and all of a sudden the door slammed and I could hear one of my coworkers walking down the hall and whistling. And I knew by the whistle who it was. I was like, of course.
Yeah.
But so we played it for the whistler. He thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny. The guy editing it was not as
He
amused,
was not as
but
impressed.
the whistler and I thought it was very funny. So
Oh, a debut.
yes, I was like, look, you kind of made it to our audiobook.
Yeah,
so.
right?
Yeah, I hate editing. I try to do everything live, so I don't have to edit.
That's a good
Oh,
idea.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's done. It
It's
is what
done.
it is.
Exactly.
Because it is driving. We used to do a lot of editing here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the old style editing.
Yep.
We had the VCR tape, and you'd have to run it.
Oh.
Okay, run it. Okay, and slow it down.
Back
and
up.
Back up. Back.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
work.
Now everything's on hard drive,
Mm-hmm.
so it's easier to edit. It's easier
Definitely.
to get to it.
Yeah.
But you got to learn a whole new system,
Mm-hmm.
which
That's
I
true.
never did.
Yeah.
But we have a director here that does a good
I was
Exactly.
gonna say,
Yeah.
you got people.
You've got people.
Yeah, good people. Right,
Right.
Aaron?
job. But, there you go. But anything I do, we don't edit.
Good.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of
It's
live.
live.
It
You've
is,
you've
yeah.
figured out how to continue doing the thing that you love that you're good at without
Right.
doing the
That's
thing
right.
that you don't love about the thing that you love.
Right, I do
Right.
2 shows a week here,
Yeah.
and I do the town meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't edit the town meeting, because then you really get in trouble.
Oh yes,
yeah.
no, that's public record. You can't touch that.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like we do the selectmen's meetings, we don't edit.
Good.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's live and that's what it is.
Yeah,
How often are the selectmen meetings? Are they weekly or
every 2
Every-
weeks.
every
Yeah,
2
every
weeks?
other.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Worcester City Council is because I live in the city. It's every week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're long meetings too.
I bet they are.
yes,
Yeah,
Yes.
well, city is
Yeah.
a little different from
yeah.
our
yeah.
community here.
Ours are pretty short.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're long, but for the most part, they're short.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Got a
Yeah.
town manager that's good at putting it together.
He does.
That is
He's well
good.
prepared and
Yeah,
has the information ready, so you're not.
he wants to go home, so he makes sure. it's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. It's some of the meetings will be going on for several hours. I'm like, aren't these guys hungry? Like, don't they
Right.
want to go home and like have a snack? Like, I'm hungry. I've been watching this and I want to go have a snack.
Right.
I was on the planning board for
Yeah,
over
that's
30
right,
years.
yeah.
And we had long meetings, but
Mhm.
that involves a lot more.
Right.
And I remember meetings going up to 12 o'clock
Oh.
at night. We
Oh,
start
wow.
at 7 o'clock, and
Yeah.
we'd be 12 o'clock, we'd
Oh my
still be at the
gosh.
meeting,
Jeez.
especially with a large development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you
Yeah.
want that to go right, or you want to make sure you
Exactly.
have all
Yeah.
the information for that.
So, but that happens, but,
Mhm.
I enjoyed doing it, so it didn't bother me.
Right.
Right. When you enjoy something, it's not a task or
Those
a chore.
those 5
Right.
hours in a meeting aren't as long, I
No.
guess. So.
Right. But, you go to a zoning meeting, that's
Mhm.
because everybody's so concerned.
Yeah.
And you get the opposition, you get the
Mhm.
pros, everybody wants to talk.
Yep. They get very passionate.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
imagine.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about the town meeting we got coming up in a few
Mhm.
weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is
Could
that a
be
big
long
one?
May 6th.
Is that the senior
It's
center?
going to be, well, that's a part of it. It's
Oh.
one of many
Yep.
articles.
Oh, it's a big article. It's a
The one-
big day.
yes, also is an article for an override of 2.5 for the school department.
Oh, yep.
Mm.
Those
So
can.
they're expecting a huge crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So they've moved the location to our high school
The high school
But
field
also-
house.
into the field house, which is essentially the gym,
Wow.
to
Yeah.
make sure we accommodate the
Very
crowds
big.
that they're expecting.
It's got a quarter mile track inside it, so it's a large building.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Mm.
How old is the high school? Is that newer or?
20 years now.
Yeah.
2000,
Okay.
Yeah, 2001.
was it 2001?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
been
So
over
well
20
over
years.
Over
Yeah.
20, yeah. Wow.
Time flies,
It
doesn't it?
does.
It does.
Yeah, that's when I officially moved to town,
Oh.
was 2001.
Yep.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
It's amazing how
It
fast
is.
it goes.
It does.
So you get to live in the town that you serve.
I
That's really
do,
neat.
yeah. So it is interesting for me to
Mm-hmm.
be an employee
Mhm.
and also a resident.
Right. Yeah.
But we find the balance.
Yeah.
It's worked out pretty
Mhm.
well.
How long have you been at the senior center?
13 years.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're an established.
Yeah,
Yes. That's
almost
great.
13. I
That is
should say.
great.
It'll be 13 in June.
Yeah.
So
See how fast that went by?
I know it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
I walked in and I said, "What the heck am I doing?" I'm a social worker.
Yep.
And I've always worked with older people,
Mhm.
but I had no idea what happened
Yeah.
within a council on aging senior center building. Had no idea.
Yep.
And boy, have I learned.
Yeah,
And I'm
there's-
still learning.
It's a big job. It's a lot
It's a
of
wonderful
things.
job. It's
It really, and you're serving the folks that not only come into the senior center, but folks that are in the town as well.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
it's a big job and it's an important job.
Absolutely.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yes, of
recognizing
course,
that. Yeah.
But what's
It's fun.
important, you both do a job that you like.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's important, because you do it every day.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
I've had jobs that I haven't loved, and I don't know if you've been in that boat, but it's really hard to go to work.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
I mean, now the only reason I don't want to go to work is if I am in the middle of cleaning my house or I'm in the middle of something at home and I'm like, oh, I got to go to work. Or if it's a Saturday and I'm sleepy, because I do work
Right.
weekends sometimes. But yeah, or the weather's really lousy. Like it was raining hard this morning and I was just like, I don't want to go out there.
Nobody did.
No, but I
Right.
did it
You
and it was
wanna-
fine.
You want to stay in bed.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I
Yeah.
thought about that. I was like, well, they noticed me. I was like, no, I have to go to work.
Right.
So, but.
And how
that's
long have you been in this role?
Almost 7 years.
Oh,
So yeah,
nice. Okay.
I was also a social worker,
Okay.
or I'd gotten my undergraduate in social work.
Okay.
I did not make it to the next level, and I was looking for a master's degree,
Yeah.
and I'd learned that social work is a really, really hard job,
Yes,
and
it is.
the people I know that do it are incredible, and I am just not cut from that cloth. So I
It's a-
applaud you because it's a hard job and it's a good job.
Well, I think that's why I feel like this job is more rewarding, I
yeah.
should say, because I'm on the front lines, but I'm not in the trenches
yes.
like, years back
yeah.
when you were on the front lines and dealing with some pretty difficult situations. We still have that, but I still feel like it's such a diverse, and I have so much flexibility
Yeah.
and can do different things.
Right. And
So-
you can help a person that isn't in a terrible place. Sometimes they just need a little extra. Like,
That's
how do I
right.
get this thing? So you're making people happy and you're bringing them joy, and
Right.
it's not a sad story. It's just like somebody's looking for a resource. I can help
Exactly.
connect them so I can make their life better.
That's right.
So and that's great.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I've
Social
been
worker, you're dealing with everybody's troubles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 You got your own, and you're dealing with everybody else's.
And
Yeah.
it's that, and it's also people, there's so much information out there. It's like Medicare, like there's so much stuff,
Oh,
and
I
you don't know
know.
where to go. So a lot of times you're that connection to that
Right.
person and that resource that they don't even know they can access.
Exactly.
So it's you're bringing people to attention that they can get things that can make their lives better.
That's right.
So yeah, it's
And
great.
just the reassurance
Mhm.
is usually just most of it
Yep.
is that they just want to be heard and
Yeah.
kind of comforted and like I
Right.
said, reassured.
Right.
So yeah. So 7 years in this role.
Yeah, 7 years.
Yeah.
I was a university librarian for almost 20 years before that, maybe like
Okay.
15. It was a long time. And a good friend of mine was working at Worcester Public and was like, "Hey, there's a job opening. You should check this out." And I was like, "I'll apply, but I'm not really looking for a job, and I don't even think I'll get an interview." And I got 2 interviews and they hired me. So, and I was like, "Are they sure?" I was just surprised. And I guess I've done well. I'm still there.
Right.
I love going in. My boss is great. Her boss is great. The city is great.
Wonderful.
It's a good place to work. And it's never the same day twice.
Right.
It's different patrons every day, different experiences every day, different conversations every day. I find myself periodically in situations I never thought I would be in. I'm trying to think of one like recently. Like I run into patrons outside sometimes, like out in the city, like at the grocery store, and they're excited to see me and they're hugging me and it's fun.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Let's talk about books." And I'm like, "I just want to get some salad."
Yeah. Exactly.
So
I
it
just want to go home.
yeah, I was like,
Come to the
I'm like,
library when I'm there.
in my sweats and I look horrible. Why are you talking? How did you recognize me? I have a hat on.
Right.
But no, it's fun. Like you meet lots of people. We hear a lot in TBL that we've changed people's lives for the better, and
Right,
it
absolutely.
never gets old to hear that. I hear it every day, and it means something, and I'm sure you hear it every day.
Definitely.
And it means something every
Yeah.
time. I
Yeah,
never
you're
want to get
making a
used to that.
difference.
Yeah, I never want to get used to making somebody happy.
Right,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
great work.
Yeah, we're doing our best.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you're still in the trade in some way.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, you definitely use your skills.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a social worker in the Worcester Public Library.
Oh, that's right.
Just yeah, and she's great too. And she's done a lot of good for the community.
Yes.
Which it's nice to see that. I mean, it's good to see my colleagues and the people I work with caring so much about making people's lives better.
Right.
So, yeah.
I did hear about that new, I don't want to call it a trend because I hope it does stay
Yeah.
around for a while, but
Right.
incorporating social workers into libraries. Because we know, even in our own local library here in town, we've had some challenging situations with
Yeah.
people that are homeless,
I was
and
gonna
I'm
ask
sure
you
the
about
city
that.
of Worcester
Yep.
has
Yeah.
the same, on
Well,
a
yeah,
different,
'cause
Right.
the homeless
level.
are located
Yeah.
mostly right up there in the common.
They are. There's a lot of folks
Right
around
near
that
the
don't
library.
have housing, and a lot of them will come in and they'll be like, I need to find a place to live, or I need to find something, and I don't know
Right.
what to do. But everybody said, come here, and
Yeah.
at least I can charge my phone. I'm like, well, we can help you. It's great to have folks that really know how to connect people, because I can help people, but I'm a librarian. I can't help them with a lot of things that social workers do. Like, I can't
Right.
help them with housing. I can't help them with food security. I can't help them
Right.
with a lot of different things. And social workers can, and having that resource in a public library,
it's huge.
which is a place with lots of resources, is just one more way for us to help the community, and it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a great addition to the services that are offered. I think
Yes.
it was a wonderful idea, whoever came up with it.
Yeah, I know Cambridge has one. In Massachusetts, I think it's Cambridge, Boston, and Worcester do.
Okay.
It may have started either in Maryland or in California.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember. I've done a little reading on it just because it's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's really nice to be able to, like I said, just another way to get people what they need, be it a
Yeah.
book or be it a job or a shelter, something. So
Right,
help.
it just makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, nice.
It's amazing too how many of my elderly,
Mm-hmm.
and the rents are gone crazy.
Yes, it's
Oh, yeah.
They
so
end up
expensive.
they end up getting thrown out of their apartment because they just can't afford the rent.
Right.
You're living on just Social Security.
It's
Yeah.
heartbreaking,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we've had patrons in Talking Book that have lost their housing and have, fortunately, because of their age, been able to get housing quick.
Right,
But and when I say quick, it's still very slow.
Yeah.
But it really, like, you see a patron that you care about and that you want to be well, not have a place to go, and it's a horrible feeling.
Exactly.
It's scary, and you feel helpless as a librarian. So
Mhm.
having a social worker that can really help that person, like, opposed to just me trying to connect them with somebody that really knows what to do, is
Right.
really awesome.
Right.
So, yeah.
it's a great collaboration,
yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's quite a service that I never thought about at the
Yeah.
library. Now, you're basically in Worcester, we don't have them in the branch libraries as much.
Yeah. We have branches. Some things happen in the
You have
branch.
several branches
We
in the city.
Does Northbridge have a branch? No? I
No,
don't
we
think
just
there's
have the
one. Yeah, it's a
Whitensville.
great
Yeah, well,
library.
We
Yeah, the
did have a
Whitensville.
branch,
Yeah.
Oh, we did?
yeah, right down here in Rockdale.
We
Yeah.
did? When?
Yeah.
When
Oh,
was that?
I think they closed it in the early '70s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, oh, well,
But, yeah, in fact, I used to use it when I was a kid.
oh, I bet,
That's
yeah.
really neat. Yeah.
Did every
Right
village
across
have?
from the common,
Or just Rockdale?
Rockdale.
Yeah.
Not all the villages, they didn't have their own,
No,
just
only
Rock-
Rockdale,
only
Rockdale and Winesville.
Okay, yeah,
But it was right across from the common.
oh,
There's
okay,
some granite steps that go up to that little white house.
yes.
That little white house was
Oh, it
around.
was?
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was built by the mill.
yeah,
It had good book collection.
Yeah.
oh, neat,
And,
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Learned something tonight, thank
Right.
you.
I'm gonna have to
Miss
drive through that
Marshall was a
area when I see the
librarian.
White House.
Right,
yeah,
yeah,
with an elderly lady who was a librarian.
Mhm.
yeah,
But then, because of, and the same with Grafton had one, South Grafton,
Yep.
and then they had the main library. But a lot of these places, they closed their branches because people weren't using the library as
Yeah.
much,
Right.
especially with the internet.
And it's funny because a lot of folks want branches in their neighborhoods because they're like, I don't want to go downtown; it's so far away, or like, I don't want to pay for parking.
Well, I
Right.
supported putting the youth center down here. because the library had gone.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
And I remember as a kid, I had a place to go, and
Yeah.
now the kids don't.
exactly, it's a good resource
Right.
for,
So we have a nice youth center here that does
Yeah.
a great job.
That's good.
They're required to do their homework before they get to play any games.
That's fun. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and it gives them, they got a good research facility, and they
Yeah.
got computers where not every kid
Right.
can have a computer.
Yeah.
at home, right, exactly, or even access to internet,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it's a wonderful resource.
Yeah, we have a teen room and a kids room, and they're both pretty heavy rotation. They'll come in and do their homework, and then they start playing video games, and
Yeah.
they start kind of bickering and
Oh,
just
right.
like taunting each other. It's kind of funny. Like
Yeah.
they're not being mean. They're just like playing.
But they gotta
Just
do
being
homework
kids.
first.
They're just being kids,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's a good. It's
Yeah.
great. Like I think the youth center is a great place, and
Yeah.
we have one in Worcester as well. It's not too far from the library, but I think it's important for
Yeah,
kids to have a place to go where they can do their homework or just be kids.
and be safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and be safe.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're not running around in the streets or
Right,
like out late at night or
Or
yeah, it's a
getting into
pla-
trouble
Or getting into
or-
trouble. Yeah.
yeah,
Right,
yeah. So, back to our library, the Whitensville
Yeah.
Social Library, and you've been there, it sounds like.
It's been a while, but it is a beautiful.
It's a
building.
beautiful
Yeah.
building,
Yeah.
it really is.
and built by the Whitens.
Yes, yeah, and they do a wonderful job with programming.
They do.
And so a part of our, help me out on this one, we have we have a community health worker through, there's a coalition, it's through the Board of Health in partnership with, I think, 8 other communities.
Yes, I know what you're
The
talking about.
Blackstone
Yes.
Public, it's escaping me,
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mhm.
so through that is a grant position for a community health worker.
Oh, great.
And
yeah.
so what that person has been doing is visiting several libraries within the 8 communities that this whole group is has established, and holding office hours.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So to help people with, applying for fuel assistance or SNAP benefits. And that's
Yeah.
also things that we do in the Council on Aging
Right.
Senior Centers. But it's so nice to have that as an additional
Right.
resource for folks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially if you're busy and a lot of folks are calling you, you can be like, well, I can't help you this day, but this person will be there and they can
Exactly.
help you. And it's nice. And
Right.
they have other resources. If they live closer to the library and they don't want
Right.
to come down to the senior center, or if they're in the neighborhood anyways, or
Right.
they just want to meet somebody new and talk to them. Because I feel like
Exactly.
there's a lot of that too. Like, oh, you've helped me a lot. Is there anyone else that can help me too?
Right.
So,
Yep.
And it's been a great additional resource for us to refer out to, because all of my staff are part-time.
right.
So it's hard to kind of spread it out
Yes.
for everybody. So to have that as an additional time to be available to folks has been, it's really lifted
Yeah.
a little weight off of us as
Great.
well.
Right,
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That way you can.
Yeah.
You're not wearing too many hats. You can
Right,
focus.
exactly.
Yeah, because it's hard. We're all expected to wear a lot of hats too.
Oh,
And
definitely.
you
Yeah.
want to help people get what they need, but you also want to be the place for them to come and relax.
Yes,
So.
most definitely. Yeah.
yeah, so we, I forget what I was gonna say now.
Oh, did I throw you off guard?
Mhm,
You're
yeah.
still thinking about that name. Oh, Jeannie Ganatic is going to be upset with me because I can't think of the name of the
The person that
of
handled
the
it.
regional group
Oh.
that is that they did receive that big grant, and that was during the pandemic that they received that. But these 8 communities work together, all of the Board of Health and their public health nurses.
Oh, wow.
It's been a great partnership.
Yeah, it sounds like a great
and
organization.
It's been great for our Blackstone Valley.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, all the towns within the valley,
yeah, exactly. 8, I think it's 8 communities.
which would be all the towns within the valley.
Yeah.
Is that 8?
I think there is.
See, I'm learning
I
something
can't
else
remember
tonight.
all the 8
Yeah.
towns. I'm trying to. Uxbridge, I assume.
Yeah?
Oh, we take it from north down.
Yeah.
Millbury,
Millbury is
Sutton,
okay. Yeah.
Northbridge,
Mm-hmm.
Uxbridge,
Yep.
Millville,
Mm-hmm.
Blackstone, Upton, I got one left.
Did we say Douglas?
Douglas.
Douglas.
Okay.
There you go,
All right.
there's
Yeah.
eight.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's the Blackstone Valley.
But
Yeah.
not Webster. So Webster's
No.
too far.
Mm-mm.
Okay, because I know that they're kind of close, but they're just out of the valley
Right.
then. Okay.
Webster has a relationship to
Yeah.
the valley because of the Slaters.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Dave Slater had a mill in Webster.
Mhm.
That's all part of the Industrial Revolution, which
Right.
the valley is.
Yeah. Oh, and this is where everything was kind of
Yeah.
born.
Which my guest next week is the
Is-
new coordinator for the Blackstone Valley Corridor,
Oh, cool.
Oh,
and Dennis Rice, who is the chairman.
Mhm.
Dennis is a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had, a few weeks ago, I had on Harry Whiten,
Mhm.
who was a member of the Whiten family that owned the mill over here.
Is
Oh,
he one
wow.
of the last of
The
the
last
family?
one around here,
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
he was in Westboro now.
Mhm.
nice.
That's really neat. It's good that
Yeah.
you can promote the local history on your show too,
Right.
because
Oh, yeah.
there's so much.
Yeah, very rich in history.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting history, and we're unique in Northbridge that we're part of the national park,
Mm-hmm.
because we still have a region of Whitensville, we have a district that's original to what it was when the Whitens were running it.
Really?
You have the Whiten Machine Works, you get the town
Mhm.
hall, you have the cotton mill, we have the bank, we have
Mhm.
the community center, all these things built by the, and it's all right in the same area.
Neat. Yeah.
And we made it to a heritage district, I chaired that committee,
Yes, you did.
and we got it through, and we made it, to- and so now we're part, there's only us and Hopedale in
Mhm.
Massachusetts that are a part of the national park.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
the corridor is one
Yeah.
thing, national park is another
It's
thing.
See, I did not know
Right.
that. I love national parks. I've got the passport book and everything, and I
Yes.
haven't come to this because it's still a newer park. It was 2020, right? It was made a park.
Yeah, around
Yeah.
2020, yes.
So I should really get over here because I've been to a lot of parks.
No, I
And
think it was before that, because Barack Obama was president,
Mhm.
so,
Okay.
Maybe like 2015 then.
yeah, 2015.
Okay.
Wow, that long then. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really need to get over here because
Yeah.
like I've done almost every park in Massachusetts. So I need to
Cool.
I need to stop sleeping on this one.
Right.
So.
And then Pawtucket is a part of it in Rhode
Mhm.
Island,
Oh,
because it's
that's right.
Slater, the original Slater Mill is in
Slatersville.
Pawtucket.
Mhm.
And I think Ashton was one of those little communities along the Blackstone.
Mhm.
Okay.
But you had to have originality to what it was back when the Industrial Revolution took place, and that's
Mhm.
what we had here.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So,
Mm.
and it's neat, like the birthplace of a huge technological boom happened right here.
It
Right.
changed us from an agricultural
Mm-hmm.
to an industrial country.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's really neat.
Because everybody had farms back then.
Yep,
Yeah.
In fact, Thomas Jefferson pictured the United States as being a farm community
he did.
and not manufacturing. And we
Right.
would import our manufactured
Mm.
goods. And that changed it. Slater coming over here and creating the mill
Mm-hmm.
to make fiber,
Yep.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's right. There's
cotton fiber.
Cotton, yeah.
I know Lowell has a big textile.
Yes.
A big.
That was
like
the
a
first,
ridge.
that was the first industrial park.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
He actually mapped it out as an industrial
Mhm.
park with housing for single women.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, because if everybody was farmers.
Yep.
yeah.
Well, if you had daughters, they weren't any good because couldn't do the farm work.
Right.
Mm.
So everybody wanted to have sons. Well, what do you do with the daughters? Well, they take care of the house and
Yep.
everything. We get them married off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he set up a system where they come to work for me,
Yep.
Yeah,
send money back to the family,
Yep.
yeah,
but we house them.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's what Lowell did.
Yeah. They used to have a really great textile museum in Lowell.
They
And-
still do, yeah.
Oh, is it back? I thought it had closed.
Oh, I don't know, I don't think so.
Oh, maybe it's back.
They
I'll
had,
have to go
the
back.
machinery they have was
Yeah.
made right here in Hopedale
Really?
at the Draper
Oh.
Company.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the connection to Lowell there
It's
too.
Right,
Yeah, the Whitens made machinery to make the fiber,
Mhm.
yeah,
the threads.
right.
Hopedale,
Draper.
Draper
Yep.
made machinery to do the weaving
Oh,
and make it into cloth.
Neat.
okay.
And they still got original equipment up there
Yeah.
Mm.
from the Draper Company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a big history guy.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
it's
you are.
no. You always have some sort of cool like deep dive fact that I think about, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to go look this up when I get home. So
Yeah, I'm pretty accurate on it.
yeah,
but, because I do a lot of reading on it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love reading the local history.
Yep.
Yeah.
You talked about towns having a book.
Mhm.
We got a bicentennial book
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
that in 1972 was our
Mhm.
200th
Mhm.
bicentennial. And they got the history of the town going back to when they made a treaty with the Indians, the Native
Wow.
Americans, to settle the area.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
That's pretty interesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all in that
Yeah.
Right,
book.
in that book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so very well researched then, if it goes
Mhm.
back
yeah.
that
They
far.
did a good job with the book.
Yeah.
Then also there's a book about the White Machine Works
Mm-hmm.
that was written by a Harvard professor,
Mhm.
and he was hired by the final treasurer of White Machine Works, Ken Swift. He hired him to put this book together. He went to the records, the original records, when they first formed the mill.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the big ledgers, the big one, yeah.
He went through all the files and everything,
Wow.
put together a great book. I've got it here, in fact.
Yeah.
So I read that a couple of times. It's interesting.
Well, you probably would have to, just
Yeah.
to
Absorb
kind
it.
of retain
Yeah.
and then you go back and you
Yep.
see something that you
You missed,
didn't.
Yeah,
Catch.
how they expanded
Yeah.
on the mill and how it grew. At one point, but when it was at its peak, it was the largest manufacturer of textile machinery in the world.
Really?
It had, I think, 5,000 employees.
My gosh, that's.
The whole town worked
Yeah, I
there.
was gonna
Yeah.
say, that is a town.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when Ken Swift died, his
Mhm.
son didn't want to run it,
Mhm.
sold it off. They sold it to White Consolidated out of
Yep.
Ohio,
Mhm.
and they ran it for a few years and said, "No, heck with this."
Yeah.
Okay.
They closed it. They closed it down and sold the property.
Mhm.
Now it's like an incubator for small industries,
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
which is good because
Yeah.
we
Lots of
still
small
use it. We
businesses.
It's still
get to
being
use it.
used, yeah.
Yeah.
But he left a heck of a legacy.
He did,
A lot of buildings.
right.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. All
We're gonna
right.
wrap it up.
We
Yeah.
do have to wrap it up. Wow.
Well,
Very interesting.
Yeah, this was really
Yeah,
fun.
thank
I'm
you for
glad to
coming
meet
in.
you, and thank you.
Yes.
It's always good to see you, so thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
have to have you back again.
yeah, I'd love that. No, this has been really fun. So,
Yeah.
and I got a history lesson too.
Yeah.
So I will never turn down a
Bonus.
history lesson. So.
Everybody says that coming on. Oh, how are we going to talk for an hour? And then, wow, that went by.
Don't worry.
You make it go by really quick, and it's
Yeah,
really
it's
fun.
good.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Good night.